Hi, I'm George Rogers. I want to talk to you today a little bit about what I call the missing piece in education. Now, from what I've been able to tell, this missing piece has been missing always in education. I was missing in my education. I'm quite certain it was missing in my parents' education, and I know it was missing in my children's education. And frankly, I wouldn't even be aware of it. This is a fairly recent understanding that I've gained after 25 years of working with developing educational materials for children. And I think it's so important to understand that I want to spend a few minutes talking about it today so that you can appreciate why it's important that we determine and find better ways to help our children understand things that matter most while we're teaching them science or music or whatever it is. Because they live in a world today which is far more complex, and it's rapidly changing, and it's increasingly dangerous world in which for them to live. And our children are being required to make choices these days which often go far beyond their experience and maturity to make. And so we have to do a better job of preparing them. And we can do that. It is possible. And I want to suggest to you today some ways in which we can fulfill or provide this missing piece in education in ways that can make a huge difference in the lives of our children.
The missing piece in education may be most easily discovered by taking a close look at what we teach and how we teach our children. In my experience, most curriculum is unidimensional. That is to say, a math lesson is simply that. It's an exercise in solving problems associated with numbers or learning math operations. Similarly, science lessons deal only with the science concept at hand. History lessons typically only deal with events under discussion. A language arts lesson is only a language arts lesson, and character education lessons, if taught at all, only deal with character development principles. For example, a typical arithmetic lesson on integers and whole numbers will only deal with helping students understand how numbers work. In this teaching model, whatever students learn about the concept of integrity and the extent to which their thinking skills may be developed all happen by chance, if at all. Similarly, a typical lesson on the commutative law of math will only deal with the notion that the value of the equation is not affected by how the numbers are arranged. Yet generally ignored is the more important fact that the commutative law establishes the principles of equality and integrity, without which math would be useless. The value of math lies in its assurance of integrity through the condition of equality. The reliance of mathematics on this principle is acknowledged by the designation of whole numbers as integers. Without integrity in numbers, mathematics is at best worthless and at worst injurious. There are many who know how to manipulate numbers, but fail to understand or at least choose to ignore these principles. But on the other hand, manipulation is what we teach. Who is doing much to teach these key principles upon which the foundation of mathematics rests? Again, a reading lesson is typically only a reading lesson, with perhaps some emphasis on comprehension and maybe retention. Certainly the advantages of being able to read and write can hardly be overstated. Ideas are the most powerful things in the world, and the written word is their sacred repository. But this vast repository contains both good ideas and bad ideas. And the most empowering thing in the world is to be able to distinguish good ideas from bad ideas. Throughout history, individuals and nations have ruined themselves for want of this ability. So as we teach our children how to read and write, whether at home or at school, it is incumbent upon us to help them not only learn how to distinguish one word from another, but also how to distinguish one idea from another. Good ideas and bad ideas are not mere matters of opinion or cultural convention, but are established by laws embedded in the very fabric of our existence. The laws of human happiness are codified in the laws of nature and are documented in the histories of nations, the daily news, and our own personal experience. So how can we teach our children to recognize these laws and their operations? That is the topic of our next video, number 15. What is character-based learning? You can view our video on character-based learning at www.choiceskills.com/character-based learning.html.